will bring their own personal perspective into the matter in a positive way, in an informative way, okay, in a constructive way. And then it can also be the absolute worst. You know what I mean? And chat does do the good and the bad, usually. And of course, no matter what happens, like in the sea of good, positive shit, there's always, I genuinely can't stand rich influencers in politics completely out of touch with real connections on what they talk about. You know, it's just whatever. Like people who will get upset at what I just described here. And I did this like not for any sort of like meanness or I didn't even call anyone out. I didn't even like personally hurt someone's feelings. I wasn't trying to be hurtful at all. I was just trying to explain a situation. If you read that and you get upset at that, if you watch that, and the problem is he's describing all of his own personal flaws, but won't work on any of them. He doesn't want to, and neither does the average leftist. Yeah. Ultimately, my point is, if you look at that, if you look at what I just described and you get mad, okay, you're just more so telling on yourself in that regard. You know what I mean?
An arena full of people. One of the things I like to everyone
crazy,
very unique. Utilize or
we just talked about this, right?
Is like you that are the conversation about workers' rights around me, but
go ahead.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you could have literally just shut the fuck up and ate all the Frosted Flakes on the point. Movements. I need everybody to hear it, and I respects. My big principle always is like, I don't give a fuck. Just shut the fuck up. You're here to listen. If you come in here and you know start chirping about some random shit, like I'm gonna ban you. I think we need to we need more of a Stalinist approach in the DSA.
I've got clips from Iced Coffee Hour with your appearance on their podcast, but the comments are wildly different depending on what you talk about. The Los Angeles Police Department spends $8 million a day just to operate. And hey, if you get your fucking car broken into, good luck. You know, you call them up, right. They're like, sorry, nobody on the line. We have a very powerful economy.
Pretty much the fourth largest economy.
Yeah.
But where does the money go? That's what I want to know.
I can tell you where the money goes.
Where does the money go?
The money goes to Gavin Newsom and developers that paid for these massive infrastructure projects that they have really no intention of fully seeing through. Yeah. A gigantic chunk of it goes to our police force. Every time you drive over a pothole, think like, you know, cops got a fucking armored personnel carrier, so you can't have this pothole fixed. It's unimaginable. Hasan swears he's smarter than he actually is. I don't. I'm a dumbass all the time. Hasan just talks a lot and says nothing. I mean, these people aren't like trying to understand or learn, to be honest. They're just, you know, they see, there's always going to be people like that, which doesn't matter, you know? There's always going to be people like that, people who disagree for the sake of disagreement, you know what I mean? America houses the largest number of prisoners on the planet. We are 4% of the entire planet's population, and yet we have 25% of the entire planet's prisoner population. In other countries where they have a much more understanding approach that focuses on rehabilitation, they have better results of reintegration. What is the main difference, though? It's because crime doesn't happen because people are bad people. Crime, for the most part, is a consequence of your material conditions. That's why when there's more poverty, like in a state like South Carolina, there's more crime. Reality is that we rarely ever try to tackle the underpinnings of why crime happens, and then we try to do this patchwork solution of like more police enforcement, which ironically then takes funds away from the ways to deal with why crime happens when there's less funding for after-school programs, when there's less funding for education, when there's less funding for affordable solutions to the housing crisis, the relationship that crime has with poverty. And yet, for some reason, we just like to turn a blind eye to it here in the United States. America, when people have more economic security, domestic violence also goes down. I find them on there. Var. Yapacak. She'll do it eventually. A little bit longer, yeah. Or a good effective police force. Like, bro, we got private prisons. He's right, y'all. They don't turn a blind eye. It's intentional. I don't really care for Hasan as a person, but his political takes are always spot on. What the fuck? I mean, fine, I'll take it. I'll take that. Funding is a huge problem, but don't talk about the police. Not to mention in America, we make it impossible to re-enter society after jail, so you end up going back. Yep. Why is the song getting edited just like an Andrew Tate TikTok? Lol. It's not bad. Like my goal basically is to you know take pretty basic leftist concepts, like pretty fundamental leftist concepts that I believe, okay, and try and make it more palatable for the average person. Hyundai had a facility in Alabama where children were actually working in the facility. Oftentimes, these are undocumented kids, all the way from 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds on the assembly line.
I wouldn't be opposed necessarily if they make it easier for a teenager or someone who wants to work after school a certain amount of hours, more access to be able to work if they want to.
11 states have done this, and they've either passed or introduced laws to roll back child labor laws. In the past 2 years, those states have moved to extend working hours for children, eliminate work permit requirements, and lower age for teens to handle alcohol or work in hazardous industries.
Jack, you worked at a restaurant, but you couldn't serve the alcohol, right?
Correct. Yes, correct. Until I turned 21, but restaurants don't really adhere to that.
Hyundai had a facility. HasanAbi annoys me. Imagine that a capitalist is pro-child labor. Yeah, it's just not great. It's just not great to, I think, get kids to fucking work. He isn't talking about the actual list, he's talking about liberals. I feel like we have a huge issue of arrogance as well. I just hate his voice. I don't disagree with him, though. Fine. I'll take that, too. In contrast, Brett Cooper's clips are all culture war bullshit. Wait, I didn't even look at that. She also, she was on it too. She was on the iced coffee hour as well. I wonder what she talked about. Brett Cooper got canceled for defending Jeffree Star. Brett Cooper was almost aborted. The number one stressor for our generation. Why hookup culture is ruining our generation. Homeschooling versus traditional school. Yeah. But hey, Fem Shabibo knows how to fucking massage the algo, you know what I mean? Free press cop annoyers are getting more creative. What? What else would you talk about? She's like 19. Well, these are issues that actually hurt 19-year-olds as well. Just proves your point. Conservatism is all about culture war bullshit. Yeah. New video about Turkish soccer. Hakan Şükür. No, I'm not gonna cover that. That's crazy. Anyway, this was good. This was good to talk about with like leftist cleanup. We do it all the time.
To start purging the counter-revolutionaries and the anarchists. No, I'm just kidding.
Your point about all of this happening in the absence of larger structural change that would help marginalized communities, I think is really the key of this, because there's obviously passing a bunch of policies, protecting rights for all people who have been marginalized and have been for years and years and years. That is the right way to go. That's not happening. And so then only being able to exert your power on social media. I mean, I feel like a lot of this is social media driven in a way that like we didn't have this kind of thing about the left being very scoldy 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
it's
longer.
like no, it's definitely longer than that. I think like I like the earlier versions of this probably go back to like what Rainbow Coalition, Jesse Jackson, and then like maybe what was it, Howard Dean?
Yeah.
Like the blogosphere that started propping up around the Howard Dean era. But like those OG podcasters and OG radio hosts were like, you know, dudes like Sam Cedar, you know what I mean? Or even fucking Mark Maron.
Yeah.
At the time, you know, Air America guys, like they didn't give a shit about any of that stuff. This is like it's not new necessarily, but it's certainly become way more prominent on social media. I think like it's basically like the Tumblr contamination. Like it when Tumblr eliminated pornography on their platform, everyone that was in Tumblr doing exactly these kinds of conversations where they were like hyper medicalizing every condition and like you know, like constantly utilizing clinical psychology terms in their daily lives, like super easily and oftentimes in the wrong ways. All of those people breached, you know, the containment zone, and then they went to Twitter, they went to TikTok, and now they're everywhere. and they just, you know, everyone talks like this. Republicans talk like this.
Yeah. Well,
which is funny.
But that's telling, right? Like I think that social media has helped accelerate this trend, and you point out it's about narcissism in a way.
Yeah.
But that's what social media does. It puts you at the center of everything, right? It's your likes, your follows, your opinions. And I think that, like, you know, that's sort of in line with a conservative philosophy, which is just, you know, about extreme individualism. But on our side, like the progressive movement succeeds when there is solidarity, when you realize, like, I have issues, someone else has issues, and I have to care about their issues and their rights as well as mine. And you have to have that, like, true intersectionality. And I don't know that social media really allows for that.
No, the unfortunate reality is that, like, I can't believe I'm using like a right-wing terminology almost for this, but like identity politics and the way that it's understood in America through the American exceptionalist, American individualist lens is like literally reactionary, so much so that I believe it was a part of the CIA handbook to very clearly infiltrate like any kind of anti-capitalist space and anti-capitalist organizing and disrupt it by utilizing specific talking points, like you know, bring up random irrelevant differences all the time and make them the main point of the focal point of conversation as a means to hold up any kind of organizing is literally written in the CIA handbook for leftist infiltration.
I mean, it's certainly what Russia tried to do with its propaganda. I mean, like, other countries know that's our weakness too.
Yeah, it's very successful. It's because it's a major security threat in many respects that, like, Americans personally think I'm an American citizen. I believe that I have very unique thoughts that no one has ever thought before. And by virtue of me having come up with this very unique thought, because I'm fucking awesome, like, everyone needs to hear me out, no matter how fucking stupid it is. And I'm always like, no, man, that's really fucking stupid. Like, you don't know anything about vaccine science. You just because you're like, you know, you thought you cooked this up doesn't make you have to have a platform. Like, you don't have to say these things.
Yeah, but everyone gets everyone deserves a platform today.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's
everyone
very
deserves
stupid.
reach. The other big issue I think with social media as it relates to politics is I feel like it has led people in cable.
SF Dubs, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Anyway, that's fine. Do you think consumer politics and individual solutions are a direct result of social movements being cannibalized and dissolved by the Dem Party, top-down anti-grassroots movements post-60s, and we're seeing that again today, but with social media? I think America has always had a hyper-individualistic sensibility that's like built into our core identity, and that has benefited because that's like America was a hyper-capitalist society from its inception, right? And we always were able to expand. There was always new ground, new territory to capture, oftentimes with like indigenous people living on it. You know what I mean? So we just permanently kept going west. There was the westward expansion, and that That literally, that in my opinion, that made us even more hyper individualistic. And yo, dumbass, what the fuck is this lazy shit? Can you watch yourself more and not do anything? This is stupid as fuck. 30K and he watches past them, lol. Do something funny, monkey. I didn't pay for it, dance, monkey. Imagine darming 30K viewers for past content. I might as well watch a YouTube dance monkey dance. Dude, you are so sad, man. Suck my dick, chat. I made it. No, you didn't. Like, you definitely didn't make anything.
Turn now to politics.
Calm down,
Who
brother.
is simply the best in that category, and does love have anything to do with it? We're talking about the presidential campaign of Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. It is now official. He opened his run for the White House with a Twitter video.